Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. This time, not in person. Colin made the drive back last night because
Yes.
he is. I don't know how to describe Colin Mitchell. If you like people who don't know Colin, it's hard to describe Colin. He's very much a one of one type of person that you'll never meet in your life. So
I don't know what that means, but I'll take it as a
Colin
compliment.
is back home now, and he is ready to pod. We'll talk about the basketball game a little bit at the end. If you want our thoughts on the two losses to St. John's and LSU, go and watch them on the YouTube channel, or they are on our Green Room podcast feed. That's where we'll put our basketball stuff. But this is a football podcast, Colin. This is North Texas versus Tulsa. Big time win for the Mean Green on the road, 35-28.
Yep.
And we'll also talk about our pick 'em later on as well. But on the field, Colin, it was a game North Texas needed to win. It was a game that I was hesitant about early on. Tulsa walked down the field to start the game, and I didn't like Tulsa retook the lead 21-14, and it was kind of a back and forth game until the second half when North Texas put it away. I don't know where to start. Chandler Rogers is always a good place to start because I thought he was fantastic again. Ended the game 19 of 31, 3 touchdowns, 294 yards. And he honestly could have had more. I think there were, 3 drops off the top of our
Yeah,
head?
and one of them was a drop touchdown.
Yeah, drop touchdown. I mean, a couple of drop. Like, if you had those 3, he's probably at, 350 yards and 4
and that was one
touchdowns.
of the props Bruni
We'll talk
needed
about
to put
that
it
later,
away.
Colin. We'll talk about that later. But, yes, I thought Chandler Rogers was fantastic. And overall, this is a really good win. It's a really good win for North Texas.
Yeah, the only thing you could say about Chandler Rogers is that he fumbled twice and lost it.
Oh, I'm not even blaming those two on him. I thought the right tackle,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say that because I'm pretty sure the first one was Jet Duncan. I'm pretty sure the second one was also Jet Duncan beat
Yeah.
by I don't remember the name of the defensive player for Tulsa off the edge, but you can't just get beat like that. But sure, if you want to put those two on him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because it did happen. And that's
Sure.
honestly probably what made the game closer than it was. I mean, if you look at just the overall stats, North Texas had basically 300 rushing yards, 299, and then almost 300 passing yards. I mean, 600 yards of offense will win you a lot of games. And they could have put up more points. So I don't think the score is indicative on how well North Texas played. I do think, though, that the defense to start and the offense to start definitely did concern me at first. I mean, it was tied at half, obviously. And I think both of us were kind of sitting like, oh, God. And even at the end of the game, I think we were both like, if they don't get this, and you especially, if we don't get this first down here, then Tulsa could score.
Yeah.
And that's it. But they didn't. They didn't lose. They won. And like you said, it's a good win. I do think that offensively, this team needs to clean up some of the drops because some of those were just egregious, honestly. I mean,
look, I don't think. Look, it's hard because I think Macklin's a very good receiver.
I agree.
I know people love Rod Burns, Trey Cleveland, Damon Ward, all that. This is a very average receiving core to me. And I've said that before. And I don't want to be negative after a win. But and Macklin was one of those drops as well. So I'm not absolving him of
the touchdown
mistakes. But it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to build the receiving core moving forward. Because it's a fine receiving core, but it's not Guyton, Bussey, Darden level. So we'll see if they can get that talent out there. But I just think Chandler Rogers makes up for so many mistakes. I mean, the rushing touchdown, right? I believe it was 3rd and long or 4th and medium,
long, or I think
one of the two. And just makes a play, 41-yard touchdown run into the end zone. The quarterback draws are mostly effective, which plays right into how the offense wants to play by spreading out the defense. We talked about this. We got home and I watched a little bit of the LSU game. But it's like he is like a lesser version of what Jaden Daniels is doing for LSU, where he just kind of puts the team on your back and he's going to score you points. And Chandler Rogers at the G5 level, at the American level, is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. If you did a ranking of the top 25 quarterbacks in the country, P5 or G5, across all 120 to 30 teams, I think he's probably in the top 25.
I mean, some of the throws that he makes, I mean, many of the throws that we saw against Tulsa were just like, it's like every game it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like the one that they counted, that I think was Rod Burns, quote unquote, lost control going out of bounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
That throw was,
Oh,
I mean, that was just a beautiful throw.
oh,
So, I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about Chandler Rogers. I do want to talk though, just in the bigger picture. You win against Tulsa, you have UAB coming up, but I think a game like this shows that this is the bottom of what North Texas should be. I know that they could have had a game against Tulane and Memphis and possibly won both those games. But I think that going into next year, you need to look at this game specifically and be like, okay, like you said, improve on the receiving core. Defense, obviously, you need to do your thing. But you have your quarterback, and now we need to see, and this needs to happen against UAB as well, we need to see, one, the improvement, and also what can this coaching staff do going into next year with assuming a win next week.
yeah. Um, Last thing I'll say about the game real quick. Well, I have two more things real quick. I thought the running backs kind of got going. Oscar Attaway had the big run, nice. And then
Yeah,
I thought Rich Tejada played a pretty good game on the outside, even though he lost a couple reps, but I thought he was fine. Outside of that, defensively, they allowed a 99-yard touchdown drive to give Tulsa a chance to come back in it. Overall, it wasn't a bad defensive showing. Now, big picture, like you're saying, I mean, yeah, this is the first step. This season's the first step in what they want to do. So I don't know. I look at this and the UAB game as being your season pretty much. Like these two
yeah,
games, and you pass your first test. Now you need to be UAB to get to 5-7. And obviously, we look back on the FIU game saying, what could have been 6-6 potentially, whatever. We look back on the Memphis game potentially, being a win,
yeah,
whatever. Those are the games that are going to haunt you. But in the big scope of things, you were only embarrassed twice this year, right? Like SMU and Cal. I think the FIU loss is embarrassing, but you didn't get embarrassed, by losing by 20 or 30.
right,
The rest of the game's competitive. You showed improvement. I think you made the most on a defense. No, I don't want to say made the most of, but you did your best with the defensive personnel that you had, even though if it didn't fit the system that you want to run. And
right.
that will take a full off season. It might take 2 off seasons to really fix. So, yeah, all of that in mind, I think this season kind of comes down to, all right, can you beat UAB and get to 5-7? Because, uh, I don't care about a bowl game, honestly. Even if they went 6-6, I wouldn't be like, oh, you have to win your bowl game
Right.
for me to be happy. You want to get to 5 or 6 wins this year. 5 is on the table. Win it, and that would be positive to me overall.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it decides where this team is at going into next year. Are you going to be down with the UABs, Tulsas, FIUs of the world? Or I guess FIU is in
Conference USA.
Conference USA still. But point stands, are you going to be in that tier of teams, or are you going to be starting what you hope is a tier above those teams going into next year?
Yeah, and
And
SMU will be gone.
yeah, SMU will be gone, exactly.
Frank Harris will be gone. Jeff
Frank
Traylor
Harris,
might be
Jeff
gone.
Traylor will be probably gone as well. Yeah, so I think that great win. Got to do it again next week. I think both games are equally as important to win.
This UAB game's at home too. Also,
Yeah,
that's a big thing for me. 1 o'clock at home on Saturday. Um, Early on, I think the offensive line. I don't want to nitpick too much from a win. I didn't think the offensive line was great. The pass rush, like you mentioned, the 2 strip sacks were kind of just blow-bys. I thought the overall
yeah,
pass protection wasn't fantastic, and then the run blocking in the first half, especially, wasn't up to par to me. But then the second half, they were much better. So improvement there. I just love Eric Morris's offense. I just
yeah,
feel like he schemes up points in a way, and you give him Chandler Rogers, and it's like he just schemes up either open receivers or opportunities for Rogers to be really good. And so I hope they continue to get quarterback talent, because quarterback talent is hard to find in college football. So that maybe he's always had the luxury of having a good quarterback for the most part in his career. So that's number one. Like in future years, just in building a program, is having your quarterback stability. But I think his play calling is incredibly valuable. And it's
yeah,
something that, like, it reminds you of like when Graham Harrell was the OC and calling plays, and it was like, okay, they're able to scheme up some stuff.
Yeah.
They stay on script. They are able to win scripted drives, usually early in games. They're able to score points. So, um, yeah, I don't, or especially even after half as well. So I think overall, I'm leaving 11 games into the season. Like, all right, Eric Morris, you have lived up to my expectations. Obviously, we wish you would have started Chandler Rogers week 1, but outside of that, I do not have a problem with how you are operating as a coach. We need to figure out the defense side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's going to be the whole offseason. Is I'm assuming they'll keep Capone and whatnot. It seems like players like him and coaches like him, but now we need to figure out how we accelerate this process to where we're not the worst defense in the country next year.
Yeah.
We have a defensive line. Maybe if we're running a 3-3-5 with the 5 guys on the 10 yards off the ball, we can stop the run.
Yeah.
We have linebackers that are thumpers a little bit more. So all of that is going to take time, but that's kind of my offseason outlook early on. But it comes down to ultimately, if they lose the UAB game, I don't know how I'll be feeling. I feel like I'll be a lot more harsh, be like, all right, we need to see this, this, and this change immediately. But right now, I'm in a good spot where I mean, 5-7 year one, I think, look ahead, 6-6, maybe who knows? You don't have to play SMU next year. So 7-5, 6-6 on the
Yeah.
table. Take an incremental step forward. Don't lose to FIUs. And you're in a good spot as a program.
Yep. I agree.
Okay.
Pick them.
Any other shout outs real quick? Or we do jump to the
Oh,
big
actually,
game?
yeah, I did have one shout out.
ahead.
Nick, I can never
Nick
say his last name.
Nakwasa.
Nick Nakwasa was really good yesterday. He had 2.5 tackles for a loss and a sack. Or I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
And that he was everywhere yesterday, which was good.
Yeah, Patrick Smith, 10 tackles. Ethan Wislowski, 1 sack. Mason Richards. I thought Mason Richards had a couple of really good plays, 2
Yep.
TFLs. Like I said, Rich Tejada on the outside. I don't remember the receiver's name, but he lost a couple reps, but I thought he battled incredibly well and was really, really active. Logan Wilson had the interception on the long ball. Yeah, I mean, that's, good defensive showing overall. I mean, anytime this defense holds a team to 28 points, we're going to be like, that's a win.
Yeah.
You're going to
For
win that
sure.
game.
For
So
sure.
I'm not going to complain too much from this. All right, pick them.
You want to get the graphic on the screen?
Yes, that's what I'm doing right now, Colin.
It was a close week, guys. I am still in the hunt, albeit down 4.
Here is what we got. I will say, I'm trying to make our screens bigger here. Hold on. I will say, on the ride home from Charleston, we're watching the game and we were just we're like, all right, hopefully North Texas wins, but then we're keeping track of all of our pick'ems as we're doing it. So
I mean, this is going ball on the line. So
going ball on the line. Yeah, Eric Morris has multiple years to fix this thing. All right, this is do or
hair
die
never
right
goes
here.
back. Hair never ever goes back.
Ever.
So ever.
All right, 2.5 North Texas rushing touchdowns. North Texas had 2 in the first half, I believe, with Rogers and Attaway. No, Attaway
Yep.
broke his in the third, I think. Regardless, 2 rushing touchdowns. They finished with 2, which is the under. So Colin gets 1. Tulsa first half points looked like it was going to be under.
This one was
But
brutal.
North Texas touchdown. I'm sorry, Tulsa late touchdown to get back to 21-21 in the game. There's the over for Brune. Chandler Rogers 299.5 passing yards. This was the one
That one was
saved Colin
crazy.
Mitchell's hair for one more week.
Oh man.
Chandler Rogers was at something like 285 or so with about
286.
286 with about 10 minutes left in the game. And with the ball, nonetheless. North Texas went very conservative, ran the ball, punted. Tulsa goes down 99 yards, scores a touchdown, makes a one possession game. I'm like, surely Rogers will do something here.
Through once.
Throws it for about
9 yards.
8 or 9 yards there. Gets up to 295. And then first it was 3rd and short. They run it, don't get it. Then it's 4th and short, and they run it and get it, and the game is over. So Rogers hits the under there for Collins to keep him live. 3rd down conversion rates 34.5.
Just an absolute throw by me.
That was a bad line. North Texas 7-17. I don't have the math off the top of my head, but that's well over 35%. And so 2-2 there, and then we had the pick'em, which the final score of the game was 35-28. Bruni's taking the point here.
Yeah.
35-28. Bruni had 42-30. Colin had 45-27. So I'm closer within the margins. That makes it a 3-2 week for Bruni, which makes it 28-24.
28-24.
So Colin needs a 5-0 week
week.
next
Man,
week.
wouldn't it just be sick if you lost on that though? A 5-0 week. Maybe the script writers are writing this one up, Bruni.
I'm not worried. Not worried at all.
I'm letting everyone know this is just a sneak peek. I have to predict a UAB win next week, and I'm sorry, but it's the only way.
It's gonna come down. It's gonna come down to if North Texas can beat UAB, because I'm taking North Texas. He's taking UAB.
Taking the odds.
If it's a 4-1 week for Colin, he loses. He's got to go 5-0. Or I actually thought about, well, no, you can't go 4-0, because if we're picking different teams, then someone will get to pick them. But
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just pick a score, and maybe it'll just be so like out of the realm of possibility. That might be a good idea. Pick a North Texas win, but put it close enough to your score to where that if they just goes completely away,
if we can negate the
it would just
last
and then
point.
tie, and then we'd have to do something to have a tiebreaker. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I won't pick your exact
Colin
score.
will think.
We'll make sure the points are fair and there's no
tie.
No tie.
I'm not really worried, Colin. Honestly.
Yeah, we already started talking about next year's thing, so
Yeah.
I've accepted that I'm probably gonna go bald.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit basketball real quick. Don't have to, we like I said, we gave most of our thoughts on the last podcast. But North Texas basketball Sunday afternoon beats Towson 65-39. This was exactly what we all wanted to see against a Towson team that is not bad at all. I believe they were 120 something in Ken Palm. Not a bad win. But 65-39, really just suffocating performance here from the Mean Green. Let me pull it up. Forced 21 turnovers from Towson, a team that does not turn the ball over much at all. They were saying on the broadcast that is the most Towson turnovers this season, held them to 33% shooting. I thought the defense sparked the offense. Reuben Jones is my player of the game personally. I know Aaron Scott, 19 points, 8 of 12 shooting. Great to see him bounce back, 8 boards. But to me, Reuben Jones was the head of the snake, 9 points, 6 steals, 5 assists, no turnovers, plus 38 in 29 minutes. Colin, this dude is going to give opposing guards nightmares. He already has given opposing guards nightmares, but when this team is clicking, it's because Reuben Jones is setting the tone on defense, and he's being aggressive offensively and just kind of setting the table.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on this game being. I mean, it's exactly the bounce back game you wanted. You wanted it to be an absolute dominant win. They almost win by 30 points. They probably win by 30 points if they don't basically put in the bench at the end there. I mean, like you said, Reuben Jones was great. I guess the last time I watched, they had 20 points off of turnovers and Towson has 0, which is insane. Matthew Stone hit a 3, also had 7 points. So that's big. I do still want to see more from Sissoko. He was 2 of 2, but only had 2 rebounds. And there was just some sloppy.
I thought he was better.
He was better, but I mean, Townsend's also a lot worse than the other teams. Not a lot worse, but you know what I mean. Like it's not the same threat. CJ Noland, I'd also like to see him do better. 2 of 7. And then at the very end there, I almost lost my mind because I thought that he dropped the ball out of bounds on that breakaway. Aaron Scott, great bounce back. 19 points, 8 of 12, 2 of 3 from 3. However, he did get hurt at the end, and I'm not sure what that was. I don't know if anyone knows what that is yet.
I don't know. He was back on the bench, so hopefully.
Was he back on the bench? Cool. I wasn't sure. I didn't watch the end.
He was back on the bench.
Okay, chilling. That's good. So I think this team's in a really good place right now. Obviously, you want to win one of those other 2 games, but I think showing that you can dominate a team that's still not a bad team. Right now they're 143 in Ken Palm. They were higher to start the tournament. Wake Forest only beat them by 10. So
yeah. Jason Edwards also 19 points.
Yeah.
6 of 11 shooting, 5 of 5 at the line, 2 assists. We talked about it in the last podcast. He's gonna have to be their spark plug, Tyler Perry off the bench. This is what we keep going back to. He has to come in. He has to shoot 12 times a game probably. and be very, very aggressive looking for a shot. They need to run offense through him when he's on the court because that is why he's on the court. So I love Jason Edwards. Shout out to him. 19 points. Great performance there. Stay aggressive. Stay hot because he is a perfect complement to what like the rest of the guards kind of play their roles and are great in
Yeah.
their roles. Edwards comes in as the scorer. So they need him to be aggressive. So shout out to him. But yeah, great win. Defensively, the backcourt, I mean, the 1 through 4 I tweeted out, like the Reuben Jones, John Buggs, CJ Nolan, and Aaron Scott as your 1 through 4. Like I'd have to go back. It's up there with, the Javion, Drez, Reese, Thomas. Like you put those 4 against those 4 as far as defensively goes, just
Yeah.
defensively, not talking offense, just defense. It is on that level, and it might be like even better potentially because Reuben Jones is that freaking good.
Yeah.
So
Ruben on ball is insane.
yeah, so that's where I'm at with this team. Is I think they're going to get even. I think this team, like more so than even the last couple teams. I know the last couple teams got a lot better as season went on, but this team feels like one that will be very different. It's November 19th right now, in January 1st than it
Yeah.
was going in. I just think offensively they have to figure it out, and they will. But defensively, there's another gear this team could hit. Even if I still have major questions about the 5 on defense, we'll see how Robert Allen and Sissoko do at the 5 in conference play. But overall, this is a really good performance.
Yeah. Moving forward, because I know we probably won't do a preview podcast for anything really.
Well,
You're
we'll
gonna
do a
be
football one.
no for
Basketball.
basketball.
Okay.
They're gonna beat Angelo State, Mississippi Valley State. After these 3 games, what do you want to see against Boise State?
Well, when's Boise?
Boise is on the 5th of December.
Oh, Colin, that's 2.5 weeks away.
I wasn't sure. I don't know. We haven't been putting podcasts for basketball on the main thing. I was trying to give people what they want.
I mean, yeah, I want them to play well against Boise. I don't know. I don't know. I want them to win. It's a road game at Boise State, though. It's like
Boise is 59th in the
I think
country right
Boise's
now.
better than LSU, and it might be better than St. John. So make of that what you will. And it's on the road instead of a neutral court.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be very tough. But we'll see. We'll see how they play the next 2 games. We'll see how Aaron Scott looks, and I think they'll be better. So I have to see some Boise State too. I don't know anything about Boise State. So, all right, that's it. I believe we'll be back later in the week with a preview for North Texas UAB. We'll do a full podcast there. We'll try to have a guest on later this week as well. Bless you, Colin.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you all for joining us. If you want to donate to the Colin Mitchell Bald Fund, we'll have a link in the description. But other than that, just subscribe, like, and comment. Follow us on Twitter as well, Green Room UNT. We live tweet North Texas games and give our thoughts on the programs in general. So for Colin Mitchell, I'm Matthew Brune. We'll talk to y'all later.